Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports right here on Instagram, and the keyonmillions.co. We also have new merchandise that is on the way. We also have new merchandise that just came out. Here is a shirt. Here is compression. Here's our compression pants. And here is our new logo. Now, here's our new logo for everything. So when you get a shirt by me on millions.co, you will see this logo. But back to what I was saying, here is my profile picture so that you all will know it's me. Here is my media feed so that you can look at all of my different segments from previous episodes with the NBA and from the NFL season that just passed. Now we are going to talk about NFL free agency, and now we are going to talk about the NBA. Now, last night, NBA, first game. Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. This was going to be a tight game no matter what. It always comes out to that. It's always like that. Here it is. Cavaliers, they had a chance at winning this game. Somehow they fumbled it at the end. Dean Wade, 0 points, 20 minutes. Evan Mobley, 18 points, 32 minutes. James Harden, 30 points in 37 minutes. James Harden was very efficient last night. Donovan Mitchell was too. 25 points in 36 minutes. Sam Morrell, 13 points in 30 minutes. Thomas Bryant, 12 points in 19 minutes. Dennis Schroeder, 0 points in 18 minutes. He's been a career journeyman. Jalen Tyson, 4 points in 18 minutes. Keon Ellison, 20 points in 31 minutes. And everybody else did not play because of coach's decision. And you all can see it right here as I am reading it off to you. For the Orlando Magic, Pablo Banchero, 25 points in 37 minutes. Tristan DeSalivia, 23 points in 34 minutes. Wendell Carter Jr., 11 points in 35 minutes. Desmond Bane, 35 points in 36 minutes. Jalen Suggs, 12 points in 32 minutes. Mortez Wagner, 1 point in 13 minutes. Noah Pender, 4 points in 11 minutes. Javon Carter, 9 points in 20 minutes. Jet Howard, 22 minutes, 8 points. And here is all who did not play because of coach's decision. Now for the Orlando Magic. Let's see where the Orlando Magic is at on the standings. Now here's the standings for the Orlando Magic. They are now fifth. They are now fifth in the NBA right now. And like I said, when every time after every game, it seems like the NBA standings, whether it's the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference, it starts to fluctuate. Just a week and a half ago, the Orlando Magic, they were in the play-in spots. And now they are as high as fifth. Could they be in the top four? Who knows? That may be a little bit out. And also the Toronto Raptors have fallen into the play-in tournament. So now, when we look at the play-in tournament and we look at the Orlando Magic as a whole, for the last 3 years, the Orlando Magic, they have lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers 2 times, and last year they lost to the Boston Celtics. Now, if the Orlando Magic, let's say this, surprisingly enough, let's say if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that'll be a surprise to everybody because, like I said, Orlando, they don't have the kind of team that is strong enough to beat, I think, the Cavaliers, the New York Knicks. But like I said, the New York Knicks, throughout the entirety of this season, the New York Knicks have been hit and miss. Boston, they're starting to come back and get healthy. Detroit Pistons, they've been number one in the East all season, and we already know how the Pistons fare against the Magic. They've won most of the meetings throughout the entirety of this season. So the Orlando Magic are between a rock and a hard place. They are right there at that. They are right there at that third tier team. But in order for them to get to that second tier or even be a top tier team, they've got to beat Detroit, Boston, New York, or Cleveland in order to get to where they want to get to, which is the Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals. Now, that would be great to have the NBA Finals in Orlando down there. You got Disney World down there, and you also have the NBA Finals. NBA Finals are on ABC. It is going to be almost a home away from home for ESPN. So that's all I got to say for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. Here is their team statistics throughout the entirety of this game. Here are a few highlight clips from the game, and it was pretty much, Orlando had this firmly in hand around the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter. You can see where Cleveland, they started to lose their grip on the game, and Orlando led by as many as 13 with 4 minutes left in the game. James Harden, ever since he's been in Cleveland, he's been very efficient, but I just want to see what can James Harden do in the playoffs. Pablo Banchero, he had a turnover right there, but he still had a good night. He had 37. And one thing about this, could this be a playoff series preview? It can. Now, the last 2 years, like I was saying earlier, now the Cleveland Cavaliers have won, before last season, the 2 years prior to last season, the Cavaliers beat the Orlando Magic. Let's see what the Orlando Magic can do if they face the Cleveland Cavaliers, but we all know that the Orlando Magic, they can face either one of these teams. And let's just say, the Orlando Magic, they could beat any one of these teams just by a puncher's chance. They could be any one of these teams because we all know in the playoffs, it is so, and I do mean it is so odd that, one person could all of a sudden develop an injury and they're out for 2 or 3 games. That could change the entirety of the series. So, all in all, it was a very, very entertaining game last night. And Orlando ended up winning 128 to 122. Here's some free throws for Desmond Bane. Now, Desmond Bane, he has been a decent defender, but we all know that he has been, and there is Desmond Bane right there. So he's been a decent defender, and obviously when it comes to the trade, he hasn't really lived up to the hype, but the Orlando Magic, we all know that they are going to make the playoffs. The next game I am going to cover. Next game I'm going to cover is the Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets. Now, there's one thing that I want to say, but before I get into that, I am going to tell you all, Houston Rockets, Kevin Durant, 11 points in 26 minutes. Jabari Smith Jr., 11 points in 28 minutes. Terrian Eason, 8 points, 22 minutes. Alfred Sengun, 10 points, 24 minutes. Amon Thompson, 16 points, 30 minutes. Jeff Green, 0 points, 8 minutes. Isaiah Crawford, 5 points, 12 minutes. Clint Capella, 9 points, 24 minutes. Aaron Holiday, 2 points, 16 minutes. Josh Agoki, 12 points, 24 minutes. Reed Shepard, 9 points, 27 minutes. Also, Denver Nuggets, Aaron Gordon, 0 points, 22 minutes. Cameron Johnson, 17 points, 25 minutes. Nikola Jokic, 16 points in 30 minutes. Jamal Murray, 30 points in 31 minutes. Christian Braun, 19 points in 26 minutes. Bench production. And the bench production for the Nuggets, they emptied out their whole bench. Zeke Naji, 1.6 minutes. Spencer Jones, 0 points, 20 minutes. David Roddy, 2.6 minutes. Jonas Valanciunas, 12 minutes, 12 points. Tim Hardaway Jr., 14 points, 21 minutes. Tyus Jones, 2 points, 8 minutes. Bruce Brown, 7 points, 20 minutes. Jalen Pickett, 3 minutes, 6 points. Julian Strother, 6 points in 8 minutes. Here is the team statistics for this game. Throughout the entirety of this game, and I mean the Houston Rockets, they had a bad night from the three-point line, 4 of 33, and that's basically where the game was won and lost. When it comes to free throws, 5 of 14 for the Houston Rockets. Denver Nuggets, they were 16 of 22. When it comes to fast break points and points in the paint, Houston had 70 points in the paint. The Nuggets had 52, and yet they still lost. The largest lead of this game for the Nuggets was 39, and the largest lead of this game for the Rockets was 5. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. When it comes to the Houston Rockets, I'm a little bit on the fence with the Houston Rockets. I am. Because the Houston Rockets, as long as the game is going into their favor, and what I mean by the game being in the Rockets' favor, I mean by them, running their offense, making shots, making three-point shots effectively, and then all of a sudden, speeding the game up. Now, see, with the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to show y'all this as far as when it comes to their highlights. See, this is their highlights right here. See, when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, Kevin Durant, when he plays against the Denver Nuggets, he can't go all the way to the basket. He can't. And that is one thing that the Denver Nuggets, when it comes to their defense, they always force the opposing team's guy to shoot outside shots. And when I say outside shots, that's not necessarily shooting threes, but not getting into the paint. That is the one thing. See, as you can see right here, Cam Johnson, he shoots a three. But as we get to the earlier stages of the fourth quarter, where the game is starting to get out of hand, we all know that the Houston Rockets, they were out of sorts. As you can see right here, another wide open shooter. And then the Denver Nuggets were up by 22. Then all of a sudden, we see with the Houston Rockets, they really can't, defend their opposing players in either of their opponents effectively. That's why they have to rely on, getting to the free throw line, slowing the game down, and then when they have the lead, a 10 or 12 point lead, then that's when they start, putting the clamps down and, speeding the game up with their favor. But last night, the Rockets offense was pretty much a shell of themselves. I mean, you had Kevin Durant. He only had 11 points, which is terrible when it comes to him because he's one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history. So for the Houston Rockets, do I see them getting past the first round? No, I don't. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I don't see the Houston Rockets getting past the first round. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at my soundbite in this show and say, what am I talking about? Because first round matchup, the Houston Rockets would have to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we already know that the Minnesota Timberwolves are a rough, rugged, tumble team that'll make games look ugly all the way down to the last second. And plus, you already got Anthony Edwards, who is almost he can shoot the lights out of the stadium. He can. And when he gets into that mode, there's nobody that is gonna stop him. You can't even contain Anthony Edwards. You can't even neutralize Anthony Edwards because Anthony Edwards, he is gonna get his 25 plus points no matter what. And I don't know if anybody on the Rockets can stop Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards, he my dog. I'm trying to get him on the show, get an interview with him because he bought that. He bought that, and we already know that he already says that, he's the one to bring a championship to Minnesota. He is. But now, once we get back to the Rockets, like I said, only addition that the Houston Rockets had coming into the season was Kevin Durant. That's all. And let's see what the Houston Rockets can do because if the Houston Rockets can't get no further, they're going to be facing the Minnesota Timberwolves for the first round. And we already know if it was up to me, well, if I had to put money on it, I would pick the Minnesota Timberwolves, which leads right into my next game that I am going to cover. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the LA Clippers. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. Minnesota, they didn't look great last night. But, like I said, you're going to have nights like this because it's an 82-game season. And every night is not going to be your night. Every night you're not going to go 15 of 20 from the three-point line, as some of these players do. Julius Randle, 28 minutes, 11 points. Jaden McDaniels, 11 points, 31 minutes. Rudy Gobert, 9 points, 26 minutes. Dante DiVincenzo, 6 points, 25 minutes. Anthony Edwards, 35 minutes, 36 points. Bench production for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2 points, 6 minutes, Joe Ingles. Kyle Anderson, 5 points, 18 minutes. Julian Phillips, 3 points, 6 minutes. Naz Reid, 18 points, 26 minutes. Rico Zarski, 6 minutes, 2 points. Jalen Clark, 11 minutes, 6 points. Terrence Shannon Jr., 12 points. 12 minutes, 4 points. Bones Highland, 10 points, 16 minutes. LA Clippers. I'm going to tell you something about the LA Clippers. LA Clippers are one of those teams that are still in a diamond in the rough. And Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. So, excuse me, everybody. My Alexa dot over there, she thought that I called the name, but I didn't. So, okay, now we are back to regularly scheduled programming. So, as far as the LA Clippers, they are a team that is a team that's a diamond in the rough. And also, what can the Clippers do? See, when we look at the current standings, the Clippers, like I said, the Clippers and Warriors, they would be facing each other in the play-in tournament. But who out of the Clippers and the Warriors would give a better, I'm going to say a better fight to the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. Now, either way, I could see both the Thunder and the Spurs beating the Clippers and the Warriors, whoever they end up playing in 5 games. So it really wouldn't be no close series, so it really wouldn't matter. But we all know for intensive purposes and for promotional purposes, when it comes to these potential playoff matchups, we got to ask those questions. We got to. So for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I already went over their statistics. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, 45 points in 32 minutes. Derrick Jones Jr., 12 points, 29 minutes. Brook Lopez, 24 minutes, 3 points. Chris Dunn, 24 minutes, 5 points. Darius Garland, 21 minutes, 23 points. Nicholas Batum, 12 minutes, 6 points. Isaiah Jackson, 18 minutes, 9 points. Rachar Omir, 6 minutes, 6 points. Jordan Miller, 29 minutes, 14 points. Benedict Mathurin, 22 points in 25 minutes. Kobe Saunders, 6 minutes, 2 points. Sean Padula, 6 minutes, 6 points. Cam Christie, 2 points, 6 minutes. Now, as far as both of these teams, as far as they lined up, I don't see the Clippers, getting out of the first round. That's whoever they play. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I would have them as the betting favorite to beat the Houston Rockets. I just don't believe that the Houston Rockets can beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in a 7-game series. And even though the Houston Rockets even though as of right now the Houston Rockets would have home court advantage, that don't mean nothing to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've seen the Minnesota Timberwolves in previous playoff runs, just the past couple of years. They go and get 2 games on the opposing team's home floor, come back home, and win the series with those 2 games they have at home. So Minnesota Timberwolves, they not fazed by going into somebody else's house and, when trying to get a game in a playoff series. It is not going to happen. And Houston Rockets, Houston Rockets, they are the one team that we really don't know about, because I'm going to just tell y'all this. When it comes to, I'm going to start off with the Eastern Conference. Now, and then after that, I'm going to finish up this segment. When we talk about the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons, we already know who they are. Boston Celtics, we already know who they are, the best team in the Eastern Conference. New York Knicks, they're hot and cold. Cleveland Cavaliers, hit and miss. Orlando Magic, a young up-and-coming team, but we need them to take that next step. The Miami Heat, we all know that they are going to be there in the end and a diamond in the rough and trying to make things interesting. Toronto, young. Philadelphia 76ers, it's all about Joel Embiid. Is he going to be healthy? The Atlanta Hawks, another young team, don't know how they are going to fare in the playoffs. And the Charlotte Hornets, another young team, we don't know how they are going to fare in the playoffs. Now, for the Western Conference, Oklahoma City Thunder, best case scenario for them, repeat champions. San Antonio Spurs, best case scenario for them, making it to the Western Conference Finals. Houston Rockets, I'm a little bit on the fence where I want to put the Houston Rockets, because Houston Rockets, at times they look like a championship contender, and then there's other times where this is a second or third year team who just happens to have Kevin Durant. Now, when I say who just happens to have Kevin Durant, he is the one that, gives the Rockets playoff experience. Now, the young players that are on the Rockets, they haven't really been in a situation where, well, I'm going to take that back. Last year, they were in a game 7 with the Golden State Warriors. So they can take that experience that they had in game 7 last year and channel it into this season. For the Lakers, y'all already know how I feel about my Lakers. It's about what Lakers team shows up. The Denver Nuggets, sometimes they are hit and miss. Last night they was hitting on all cylinders. The Minnesota Timberwolves, we all know they led by Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards, he is not going to underestimate anybody. Phoenix Suns, led by Devin Booker. Phoenix Suns, they could pretty much, worst case scenario, they could be gone before the playoffs even start. They can lose in the play-in tournament to the Trailblazers. The Clippers, I already told you all about the Clippers and the Warriors. And the Trailblazers, usually the Trailblazers are one of the worst teams in the NBA, and they usually don't have a chance at making the play-in tournament at this point in the season. But given the fact that everybody below them in the West is bad, they have a chance at making the play-in tournament. And currently, right now, if the play-in tournament start today, Phoenix would play Portland, Clippers would play the Warriors, and in the Eastern Conference, Toronto would play Charlotte, Philadelphia would play Atlanta. So that is how the NBA landscape is currently constructed, and we only have 17 or 18 more games. It varies from team to team, but the most games we have left in the NBA regular season is 18 games, and we are going to see how everything shapes up. So with that is my reaction to the Wednesday night of the NBA. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. Here is my media feed. Here is my profile so that you will know it's me. Here is our live merchandise. We are starting to roll out new merchandise. We have new shirts, hoodies, compression shirts. We also have new joggers, and here is our new logo. So anytime, and I do mean anytime, somebody purchase a shirt, joggers, or whatever apparel from my website, you will see this logo, Keys to the Road. I know it looked good because we got the keychain, we got the street in the background, we got the we got the grass on the side of the road, we got the sunset. So everybody, this is the journey right here. This logo represents the journey that everybody is trying to strive for. And remember, everybody, believe in yourself, and you can strive to that goal that you want in life. Everybody has a chance at succeeding in life. You woke up this morning, you just did what most people weren't able to do, because there are some people that passed away in their sleep last night. There are some people that passed away in their sleep, but we're not just focused on the destination, we are focused on the journey. Now, I can say this is the first time since I've had this show that I am very optimistic on where we can take the show with this logo, and also with the other things that are happening on this show. And also, before I forget, we have a very special guest that is coming on the show today. His name is Orlando Thomas. He is a basketball phenom, and he will be on the show later on at 1 p.m. So everybody, please schedule if you are able to see it in live action. Please set your clocks for 1 p.m. today on the East Coast. And if you are not able to see it, don't worry, because right after the interview is complete, it will be shown on all social platforms. So, everybody, and I do mean everybody, remember one last thing: the key is always on time.